in Atlanta. And it's like, I was at home. We had done TV, Monday Night Raw. At that time, we were filming SmackDown on Tuesday night. We were shooting it on Tuesday, and I flew home, and I get a phone call on a Wednesday, and they said, hey, we want to put your dad in the Hall of Fame in Atlanta, where his career started. Do you think he would be on board with that? And I just started laughing, and I said, whether he is or not, I can tell you all his sons will be. Because at the time, Brad was still alive, and so we said, and they said, well, we're going to call him. Do you want us to do a conference call with all the brothers and the dad? And I said, no. I said, he didn't have us when all this started. I want him to be able to enjoy this moment. I'm the oldest brother, so everybody's always, when it came to doing business, they'd always come to me, because I would go to all the brothers and say, what do y'all think about this? And then go back to the bosses and say, here's the scoop. Because I'm real. Mike, you know that by now, dude. I'll just be honest. You can hate my guts. I don't care. I'm going to move on. But, and so I said, yeah, call him by himself and tell him. And then I will wait on him to call me. But I said, because I'm 100% sure he will be so honored. And so he called me within a few minutes. He called me and said, son, did you know this was going to happen? And even to his death, I never told him that I knew it. I said, no, what are you talking about? And he said, they just called and they're going to put me in the Hall of Fame. And I just started tearing up. I said, Dad, I can't tell you how proud I am. That's literally the coolest thing ever. And I said, and he goes, yeah, it's just crazy because I never worked for WWE. And I said, no. And that's, you made such an impact in the industry, and you had 4 sons that all followed in your footsteps. And, Brad actually announced when we did the new ECW, we called it ECW Light when it started in 2006. And they brought Brad in, and Brad actually did commentary for 6 or 8 weeks on the show. And so Steve was actually there as Lance Cassidy was the singing cowboy. He was there in the 90s. So all 4 sons had worked for WWE or WWF/WWE. And so I told his dad, you made an impact, and you started in Atlanta, and now your Hall of Fame is in Atlanta. And man, it's just, God, I'm going to cry telling you about it, and I'm sorry. I don't mean to do that.
That's all right.
He in his Hall of Fame speech, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie War. It's called War Horse, I think. And it's about those, just back in the war times, and they just rode those horses went right into, with a rider, and they went right into the front enemy lines, and those horses they just worked for a living. You know what I mean? They just worked hard for a living, and for the man to feed them and pet them and show them love. And I'll never forget, at the end of my dad's speech, he said, I just want to say thank you for letting this old war horse do his thing. And man, I think about that a lot, simply because it's what I did. And he loved it, and I love it, and my brothers love it. And you just go, that's what we are. We're just war horses, man. We just want to be a part of this. And look, I'd be lying. I've heard so many Hall of Fame speeches where they go, hey, without you guys, I couldn't have done this. Well, that's true. The feel you get when you're in the ring, but when I'm driving to a town, I'm driving there for Scott. I know that's selfish, and I don't mean to be that way, but when I'm driving to a town to be a part of wrestling, I love it, man. I'm doing it for me. I want to do it. I want to go. My wife has always said, I worked, when WCW was bought out by Vince, I did not get picked up. So I would work the indie circuit on the weekend, and I had a real job. I worked for a furniture company for about 5 years, and they would let me off early on a Friday, and I would work the indie scene on Friday night and Saturdays. And if I could pick up a Sunday, I'd pick up a Sunday, but I would go right back to work on Monday morning at this furniture store. I ended up being the manager. And my wife has always said, I can remember you just complaining about having to go to work at that furniture store, but I've never heard you in 35 years say anything. We've been married 35 years, by the way. She said, I've never heard you in 35 years complain about having to go to wrestling. And I just started, I laugh because it's true. You know what I mean? If you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And that's how I feel about wrestling. And so, to hear my dad say that at the end of his speech was like, it couldn't be any more fitting to a career than to have been a part of that with him in my early youth, to then see him go forward and do it all, man.